Oh, that's great, but we're at the dodgy space. Now.
Man, what's up, guys? Welcome to, I don't know what it's called yet, but it's Dreamoutloud. You know what I mean? We got the shirts. Right now we are in Melbourne. They call it Dodgy Space.
Yeah, this is a dodgy space.
Hi, but like, introduce it, dog. Introduce it, Kala. Okay, my name is Ape, short for Apendule. My full name is Apendule. Sibabalo Lutwambo Phakade. Ngudlamini Jamaras Jatu Zizi. Come from the Eastern Cape in Butterworth. But I grew up in Joburg. Stayed in Alberton at some point, and then most of my life I spent in Midrand. Grew up there, went through my primary school days there, and then high school I went to Centurion and went to a school there. So Centurion is by Pretoria sides. So I got a taste of both sides, you know, like both lives, Joburg and Pretoria, you know what I mean?
So you got 1% of
ish,
like 99.9% of
Jozi, dog. Yeah, no, Jozi, like I came
back. You've got 10% of Eastern Cape, and then
Eastern Cape is like 10%. Yeah, I'll put it there, and then Jozi is like 90%. You know, so. I then went to Jozi again for varsity, so this was like 2014. So that's when I really got to experience Jozi live as an adult. Live. Jozi live. Yeah, man, that was the nice thing about it. So it was a very interesting trip. I kind of had a lot of visits to Eastern Cape back and forth, you know. So I did kind of learn some things about Eastern Cape, but don't say Eastern Cape vele. Yeah. This guy over here, right? This guy came straight from there into Joburg at an older age already, so he already knows a lot about the Eastern Cape and how growing up there is, you know. Like, he's been telling me stories about a lot of things that he was doing growing up. So yeah, man.
Before ngizazise one thing I want to say about Joburg. What is Joburg?
Yeah.
Joburg is like a partner. It's like a boyfriend or a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Where your family, your friends, all the close people around you who know you tells you about Ape. Okay. It's like a girlfriend to me, that you love so much, but your family disapproves of it. But
that's a difficult situation.
Yeah, uJozi uzokulimaza
but yamthanda,
but abayazi into efumanayo iJozi, abayazi into efumanayo kulomntana, yazi bathi uzokulimaza.
And she gives you the goods and the bad, but experience as well and lessons.
So that's, for me, that's Jozi. But mnango onke uvula idobo stwayi. Unyana kaBhekizulu ozalwa nguzolikhanyile ozalwa ngustwayi. Ustwayi ozalwa uNomahlaba uzalwa nguMenqo, umntana bonogambula. Amaxhego amabini athi qhamqi kola kutsolo, esinsele kola kwaBomvani eXhorha ukutsho. uJola uqengebe umphankomo itholo lomthwakazi, intombi lemnyama bele made nxasela phisho kumlanga. Inyoka emdaka engoyiki umuntu.
Yes.
Ndim lo. Umtshana koMadiba oyemyemu ongqolo msila ovela bambhensela. Omazondo zentshaba zingazomenza nto. Isizukulwana sikaBhedla, sikaMpulana, sikamtshoni obhalisa abenguni ngentolwane. Somthi onzingalala naphezu komdumbi othi ugawula ube uhluma. Just to give you a brief explanation about the introduction yam, mna indlela engizintroduce ngayo ngiqala ekhaya, from my father's side to my mother's side and to my grandmother's side. Yabo. There's a lot you learn from your identity. When I talk of the Jolas, my clan, you talk of the kind people, those who will give you a full cow, will offer you a full cow, if I were to do a direct interpretation in English. Then when you talk of my mother's side, those people, one thing I've learned about Omadiba, they are very stubborn.
Sure.
If they have an idea about something, they are very stubborn about that idea. That's one thing I've learned from my mama. Yes, mama, bra. If mama uthen ufuna uthenga imoto, umama, there was a time esithi mina ngizothenga imoto. Umama zange wa drive imoto. Uthenga imoto at 40. That's when she learned how to drive. Not 40 nah, not 40. 450.
Hey, but umama bengaqhubi bra.
Bengaqhubi. Umama uqale ukwenza license yakhe at 55. I'm not sure yabo, but what uthenga imoto sithi hayi no awukwenza uqhube, but that's how she's stubborn. Once she has an idea about something, she goes for it. That's something I've learned about myself, Madiba clan. Then you go to my grandmother's side. Oh makhulu, there's a part ethi there's a part ethi from the Madiba side, there's a part from Madiba bathi umazondwa zentshaba zingazubenzando. That means your enemies hate you, but they can't do anything. But they hate you.
Why
but
are they hating you?
I don't know, man. Maybe it's jealous. Yeah,
you're too great.
Yeah, it's jealous. Yeah,
when you're too great, that tends to happen.
Yeah, then from my grandmother's side, ithi umthi onzingalala naphezu komdumbi uthi ugawula ube uhluma. That means even when you chop, like a direct translation, when you chop the tree, it grows up immediately. When you chop the tree, it grows up immediately. That means the same like when your enemies try to put you down,
you're gonna grow.
It's
from
like
the ashes.
they are pouring manure on a plant. It's like they are pouring manure on a plant, but they are not aware.
They're helping you out at this point for you
helping
to grow.
you out.
So you also appreciate them in a way, to be like, thank you for giving me that manure. In the time, maybe it's smelled like crap. But right now I am growing into a flower.
So that's what I've learned from, as a black person, as an African child. You need to know your roots, you need to know your origin, you need to know your tribe, you need to know your clan name, you need to know your mother's clan name, you need to know your grandmother's clan name. Through that, you know yourself.
You tap into who you are.
You tap into who you are. Because
you'd find there's a lot of things about yourself that you start learning as you grow up, and you see similarities with some of your family members. And now I was asked about why you a certain way, but it's because you don't know who you are necessarily. You never really got into your roots and gone to abantu abasekhaya, going back about utata notamkhulu besenza so na so. This is their character. This is why your character is like this. This is why your DNA is like this. You take in certain parts of them with you, because it genes pass through. That's why when you're going to visit your family for the first time, but what? Talking about your grandfather or your great grandfather. They would like bazocompetition notata akho, but bazosebenza the whole name. Bazothi uyafana noCwamba, kanti uCwamba is the name of your father. Othi uyafana, because now I remember when I visited my father's workplace, bathi kum mntanam uyafana notata akho, even if he denied you, bengazosebenza because you look like him. The way you do i-presence zakho xa ufika endaweni, you are just like your father. We can't help it. The same way we respect your father is the same way we respect you. Because when you get to an environment,
you bring it that presence katatako yangithola when you get there they can't help it but respect you but nabo bafumaniseke ba they don't know what's causing them to respect because they don't even know you.
That's deep, man.
My king, so that's me, man.
I know we hear you, man. We hear you.
That's my introduction. My introduction always take time because when is introduced, and I can't help it but start from Ekaya, from Ngobo Baba, Umtata wam, then come to my mother's side, and then go to my grandmother's side.
And that's a lot like we can learn as Africans, especially ones who, like me, who grew up in the suburb life, you know. We have some ties at home, but most of our lives we've got another culture on top of us because it's always important how you grow up, what you've been taught, and you might find that but in fact, and I could learn a lot from people like you because was Ekaya and because I was taken out of Ekaya to be in another environment where I had to learn certain ways and mastered those ways, but also bringing that DNA Yasekaya and imagine now with that knowledge of being here and also that knowledge of Ekaya, how much power I would have.
So now you are tapped in two sides. The city life and the village life.
But now a lot of us struggle with, we only know the city life. Some of us don't even know how to speak in mother tongue yet.
Hey, do you know what said about the first time I went to After? I remember meeting few people at After. But you only, but I'm going to take this course. Because I was born and raised here. And that's it.
And you see that a lot with these kids, like my nephews and everything.
Black people, especially our youth, Tina, we are going through what you can call an identity crisis.
Yes, definitely.
An identity crisis, my king.
Yeah, definitely.
Like when I check, okay, now I'm going to introduce him through your father's side. You're going to say, Gubani Stukas Kamamako. Umamtembo, Gonzul, Ompafan. I remember ngikhuluma nomama wakhe ngoNozulu ompafana. So I want to introduce, you should be able to introduce yourself through your father's side, through your mother's side. It's like, okay, let me tell you, yabona belungu. Yabaza belungu bazintroduce njani? But my name is John, the son of John the Third, who is the son of John the Second, who is the son of Edward. It's like, but they are doing the
similarities.
Okay. Check again the prince England man. Prince Charles. The what?
Oh, is it Charles?
Prince,
man.
Yeah, but the prince.
No, isn't the one who got married to that actor?
Yeah. Oh, I have a crush on him. Yeah, that's one. But it's always but Prince Charles the Second, Prince Charles the Third, or Prince Charles the First, Prince Charles the Nabo. They are doing the same thing, but in English. But it's in a Sibon.
Yo, man.
But that was a long introduction. So we've been
getting into the gist of it. This is Dreamoutloud.
The most important thing you can take from this, but it's important to know your identity. I know, but in most years, we're not raised by our fathers, we're not raised by our mothers. But I believe it's important to know your mother's side. It's important to know your father's side. And you can go as far as you can. It doesn't mean that, like, if you were not, like, you don't have a good relationship with the mother's side or your father's side, it doesn't mean that you have to be buddy with them, be friends with them. Nah, just know, but okay, my father comes from the Jola clan. My mother comes from a Diba clan. From that, you can learn, but okay, Jola, they are kind people and they love women. You know what? They know my Diba. They are stubborn people. They are kind people. They are stubborn. They are people of royalty. At least you know. And when you know that information, it's going to resonate with you. And then it's going to start answering a lot of questions. But, oh, shit. That's why whenever I'm in a space like a band look at me as a leader, it's because I'm from this clan. And this clan, it's famous. It's famous for being leaders. It's famous for being kind. That's why as abantu abamnyama were never poor back in the days. Because let's say if you come from Eastern Cape and you come to Joburg, you introduce, if you climb, what do you call yourself? mhlawumbe ungujola ne apho kukho khona ojola, wherever there is a jola clan, you'll find a place to sleep, you'll find food to eat, yabo, because we are connected to the clan.
Your family.
Family, we are family. Yeah, to singojola family, yabo. So isuka apho. So it's important that's why it is important for us to know, especially as black people, we need to know our origins. Basuka aphi. Sonke mhlawumbe abantu abaninzi bakhulele in the townships. But you need to understand that your ancestors were brought in the townships. Yeah.
So
that was a long introduction.
What was now I'm gonna ask you now, like what was the vision for Dream Out Loud? What made you come up with Dream Out Loud? What was the whole vision behind it? You know, where did it start? Where is it going? What are your hopes?
This is the letter I wrote when I came to Joburg.
Okay.
I read it out loud.
Ooh, it's a pretty long letter.
Then at least it's
Dear Dr. Khoza.
Dr. Ivan Khoza.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, for real?
This was the first time I came to Joburg. This is where it all started. Okay. Then we set up. Yeah.
All right. Dear Dr. Khoza, my name is Onkestwai from Elliotdale, okay, a rural town in the Eastern Cape. On the 29th July 2014, I left my hometown so that I could meet you and share my dream and vision that I have for my community. My hope was that you would be able to hear me out and help me achieve this dream. However, before I can share with you my plan to achieve my dreams, I would like to give you the background of the challenges that made me get up and leave my village to seek help. I come from a village of Tocha,
in the
Transkei area. This is a part of South Africa you will get children who are not afforded an opportunity to complete matric because they either fall pregnant and leave school, girls being forced into arranged marriages. Oh, this is what Umtata said he was running away from.
Yeah, that's right.
He said he was going to be forced into a marriage.
And the messed up part about Landba, them arranger with the girl who's in love with Justice. The guy was supposed to be the chief, and the only person who loved him as a brother.
So he had to go. He went to Jozi.
Imagine, okay, Naswai too, when we are forced to be married with someone I have a crush on or someone I'm dating, maybe let's say like, someone, let's not mention names.
Yeah.
That person.
Shit.
That one. Daddy.
Okay, moving on.
Yeah.
In brackets, some parents want to be relieved of the responsibility to support these children. Okay. Or young boys leaving school to work in the farms and mines to help their parents provide for their families. It seems like the parents have lost hope in their children, and some would even tell their kids to leave school because they cannot afford to buy them uniform. I have watched this situation unfold before my eyes and could not help but wonder where it would end up. I watch kids that are still growing up, and I do not want to imagine them going through the same cycle that I have observed over the past years. My dream is that one day they can be in a place where they can be taught to dream, to believe in their own abilities and visualize their own future. A place to empower young women, and I believe that can be achieved if it can be started from preschool. Definitely. I have attached photographs of one of the preschools the community built, and I do not believe any child needs to experience what ought to be their foundation of education under such conditions. I do not believe this encourages these children to study and be something better if they cannot see the physical fruits of education. If they cannot even be afforded a proper building to start their education, it is obvious that the government has forgotten about the rural communities, and there are very few people who care enough to do anything. The reason I decided to approach you for help, though, is not so that you could give us donations to uplift this community. I would need your help in a different way, which I believe would be more sustainable than a once-off donation. I have observed that there is a lot of soccer talent in my community. However, it cannot flourish as the boys who are gifted with this talent face challenges that I have mentioned above and cannot pursue their dreams. I have observed some of these talented individuals turning into alcohol and drugs, especially dacha, and ending up in the same cycle of poverty which has surrounded this community. I strongly believe that if the younger generation of this community can get inspired by one of their own by seeing them succeeding in what they like the most, then they would start believing in themselves and aim for a better life. I have played soccer before, and I strongly believe that if I can enroll in any football academy and be taught and trained to be a professional football, I can become good at it. My dream is that you would consider taking me for the trials and put me through your development foundation. With this, I will be able to inspire my community. I would take advantage of the publicity to inspire them, and through social media, I could be able to form a foundation that would develop sports in my community and help the disadvantaged kids that don't have school uniform. My vision is that my success in the sport could help even those who want to study but have no means to start believing in themselves, which would encourage them to seek information on how they can make their dreams come true. As I said in the opening of this letter, I left my home to come meet with you, but unfortunately I could not, as I was turned back at the gates and told to write this letter of appointment. It is still my dream that you could afford me an opportunity to meet with you and explain to you this vision of mine. I believe in this way you could be able to hear my story and get clarity where this letter is coming short. Let's change the world. Yours sincerely, August Style. Alright. So you were trying to be a soccer player when you first came to Jozi.
Yes, to play day one, bruh. I've never read this letter.
Really?
So manje xa uyifunda,
Yeah.
it ties with what we're trying to do.
Nah. Which is?
Working, like building the preschool. It's mentioned there.
Yeah, it did. Like that was your goal, but
Bro,
it was
I wrote
different.
this letter when I came to Joburg. Zange ngaphinda ngayifunda, my king.
What year did you come to Joburg?
2014.
2014. Oh, yeah.
Yo, the more you follow, the more in touch. Because King,
Yeah.
I've never read this letter. I wrote it once, ne? And then my brother-in-law helped me with English. Ufakazile mahlangu. Yo, that guy, that guy, man. He's the one who introduced me to books. I will forever appreciate how even though ngeno in person because I'm just pride. But xa ufunda le letter manje 2014 2020 manje
2020 now.
7 years back.
Yeah.
Yabona xa uyifunda zange ngayifunda apha le letter. I wrote it, I printed it, ndayinika ulantu ndayinika security ska kwi office Orlando
Pirates.
Bra zange yabona le letter le.
Yeah.
So xa uyifunda that's why xa uyifunda ngoma yes.
This has been your vision.
My
so
king.
figure 2014, leaving this place, leaving this preschool thinking, I want to come back and change this situation.
Yeah.
That's why I'm coming to Jozi. But it was through soccer at the time.
Okay. Things
come full circle, man.
Well, man, I think I need to go. I need to take a break, Nyara. Then when I come back. No, because in fact, as my king, to be honest with you, the letter angiyazi le, my king. I swear to God, the letter le angiyazi. So the more we funda, surprise namanje yabo. Because the only person who funded the letter nguPepe, I gave it to Pepe, one of our friends yabo. Yabo I phone. But mna personally, I wrote it once like 7 years back. So this is the second time in Vangayo, man.
Did they reply to you ngokuba uyithumela?
Nah,
they didn't reply.
It's a long story for it, yabo. Yo.
Okay, so in the next segment you'll tell us a story. You know, like you came to Joburg.
How I got to Joburg.
How you got to Joburg. What happened when you got to Joburg? How did you survive? How did you get to where you are now? Because I've heard some of these stories, so I just wanted for camera purposes, you know. It's pretty interesting.
That's one thing that's surprising to me.
Yeah.
Whenever as you are reading this letter, it's what we are doing now. If you check.
Nah, definitely.
It's what we're doing now.
Is this the same preschool?
Yeah. Yabona, my older brother will tell you, but I cried when I saw that preschool.
Yeah, right.
I cried, my king. That
like
no.
Looking at it, you said, "What? These are little kids, like dealing with this."
King, I used to experience that now when I was young in my village. There was a point in my village where there was not enough space for primary school. So the community, sacrificed their homes. Like they would say, like, okay, grade 1, grade 2, grade 3. Okay, let's say grade 2 will go to this location and use this room. Grade 3 will go to this village and use this room. Because there was not enough space. And again, like the fun thing is, I've never been to preschool. I went straight to grade
1.
What is after grade 3?
It was standard R.
It was standard 1 back then.
Is it standard 1, grade 3?
Nah, grade 3, standard 1 or grade 3.
Yes, I
but
think
never
R.
A, B.
Or A, B.
Standard B. And then we go grade.
Then we go standard 1, which is grade 3. Then standard 2.
2 will be.
Yeah.
Grade.
This is confusing. Yes! I just know that it was a 2-year gap. Like, now sitting to go standard 1, it's grade 3. Start from there. To standard 2, grade 4, standard 3 is grade 5, and so on.
That's what used to happen back in 77, 78. I remember 77, let's say 76, 77, 78. That's what I went through in the village.
When were you born?
Hi.
What, Doug?
In 2016, when I went back home, I saw kids studying outside under a tree. The same thing I used to go through when I was in the late 90s.
So you did that before. How was it then? Did you feel like you were in poverty, or was it
like
a normal thing at the time?
I was happy to go to school back then because I didn't know anything about the city. I didn't know anything about the my perspective. The only thing I knew was the village. The only thing that I knew that we used to look forward to was Christmas.
Yes.
That's the only thing, because we knew.
I still see it to this day.
As a village child, as a village kid back then, we knew on Christmas that was the only time you got to wear new clothes. That was the only time to wear new clothes.
For that whole year, it's going to be your clothes.
So you knew, but the Christmas, I don't know what my parents bought me, but it could be a new, only one item, new t-shirt, new shoes,
or a family member who's maybe coming from a Dolopini who's bringing stuff.
No, not family members. Ababalapa, they're gonna go to town.
You're in town, packs up in Christmas.
Boy, no, yabona 14 ane. We don't have town. Back then, like now, towns are growing, but back then it was like going to a spaza shop. The towns back then. But man, you think that things are changing. Yo, my king, man.
Alright. Nah, man.
Man, we're gonna talk about it. I just need to take a break.
He needs to take a break, but we'll come back.
The thing is the letter.
The letter got you, né?
Yeah, because when you read this thing, I've realized, but my king.
I know, but it does touch you, bro. Like old things that you've done, because sometimes they are very old songs that I did when I was still young.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And when I listen back to them, I'm like, yo, this kid.
This was you.
The things I was saying, bro. And like some things speak to now.
Yeah.
Or things I've hoped for. Like it's like I spoke things into the future. Like it's crazy.
Spoke things into existence. The law of attraction.
And I didn't understand that concept back then.
Did you even know about law of attraction?
No, I didn't.
No one told you about the law of attraction. You are just living. It was even before you allowed like the society
to kind of
got hold of your mind. To condition you. Back then you had no fear. You were just doing man, I want to be a rapper. Let me do this. You were just saying how you feel until you go to a certain stage. You started being conscious.
Get too self-conscious. Start thinking too much. Start thinking, is it perfect enough? Is it not? Because even then, I didn't even care about how the sound was. Like I would just post things on Facebook. Like as long as I had a mic.
How did it make you feel?
Bro.
After a recording, and then you share.
I knew every Sunday. It was called Sunday Sensations.
Oh.
Every Sunday I would post a song.
We need to bring.
So I used to. That's where Freestyle Fridays came from. It was from that idea. It came back to me when I started going back to who I was. Like I started going back to Midrand.
So you started.
I started growing my hair again. Yeah, because I used to be this when I was young, and then I went through a stage where I had to cut my hair to be something else. And when I went to high school and everything, but I got to a stage I think in 2017 when I was like trying to tap back into myself. Most of 2018.
That's when I met him. It was 2017.
No, we met in 2015, right after.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we met it after 2015. And I remember, like, you asked me to help you out with some directing thing.
Oh, yeah, I had a vision.
Yeah.
I needed someone to help me with a vision.
Yeah, like, I help you out.
Yeah, nah,
Did it cut?
Yeah, it stopped. Sorry, guys.
No problem.
Automatically.
Asking why that happened, how did you break the code? I've been at it since 13 with a big G, let's scroll it over 18, yeah, hella old now. Shut the fuck up and rush the take. Stick up, but in my